So here to give us some insight on how founders with ADHD can embrace their natural strengths as they scale, please welcome founder and advocate at Growth Council, Sarah N.R.
Thank you for a little bit of dopamine with that clapping. I appreciate it. So I handed my slides in last week, and I'm curious to see whether it matches up because I hadn't quite planned my talk at that point. But I do remember thinking to myself, I should start with a really shocking statistic. So buckle up, brace yourself. Would it surprise you to know that 29% of entrepreneurs have ADHD? Excellent. That's what I like to hear. It didn't surprise me either, even though only about 5% of adults have ADHD. And as an entrepreneur with ADHD, I always felt like something was off at work. So people seemed to think that I needed to fix something about myself, although I didn't know at the time that I had ADHD. But I was supposed to apparently be on time. I was supposed to have some soft skills that I didn't necessarily possess. And I was supposed to be patient with my colleagues and even my career and take the long view, whatever the heck that means. Now, when I jumped into my first foray as an entrepreneur, I still did some lawyering, but that changed quickly as soon as I put my strengths back in the driver's seat. Because if you haven't been able to tell yet, it must be because one of us is feeling a little bit nervous this morning. But I'm a little bit of a combination of circus clown and open book, and I love to tell my story and share with others and win others over as well. Now, not every ADHD entrepreneur is just like me, but we do share a lot in common. For example, we're extremely curious. We see possibility everywhere. And we're creative enough that we're able to make those possibilities come to life when we're passionate about them and using all the energy that we have, whether that's in our minds or in our bodies. We've been told no and to stop most of our lives, and so we're pretty resilient. Plus, we tend to be the first to act. On impulse, sure, but we're not afraid to try, and we're certainly not afraid to fail. And that's what lets us change the world. So Sam sort of stole my thunder here, but whether it's Richard Branson and commercial space travel, whether it's Mel Robbins and personal growth, ADHD entrepreneurs are often considered visionaries. They have original ideas, and they're able to see what the fully formed result will look like and imagine what the future is. And if you weren't surprised about my stat, you obviously also know that ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, and that name is a bit of a misnomer because it's not that we lack attention. We see everything, everywhere, all at once. But what we do lack is the ability to consistently control where we direct our attention. So we may be working on the project, the phone rings, and we get pulled away and never return to the task. It's involuntary. So you see on the board behind me the ADHD brain with all the swirling ideas inside and the fully formed result. But what plays out in the middle? How do we get there? Let's look at the arrow a little bit. So some dictionary definitions of visionary also include the part where we're supposed to be able to plan for that imagined future. Luckily, it's not all of the dictionary definitions because this is where the ADHD brain can let us down sometimes. If tasks are mundane or if they're not urgent enough, we can have a hard time getting started, and we might even forget that what we're working on. And as tasks become more numerous or complex, they can become overwhelming and we can shut down. So what can we do about that? Well, option number one is we could give up. And I'm not gonna lie, I have spent many hours just thinking about all the millions of things that I should be working on and doing exactly none of them. But there's always something in me that reminds me that I am actually capable, and that these ADHD traits are also what has gotten me where I am today. So, anyway, thank you. Let's have an ADHD moment here, folks, and remember that we lose our train of thought pretty regularly, right? So in any event, what we can do, what I'm here to tell you actually, and now this is sort of the big reveal, is that even when tasks are boring and overwhelming, you can still do it. You just can't do it alone. So let's talk about our scaling squad. So I think that we need to have people that I call babysitters on our team. And these are the people who will serve us up a dose of reality once in a while. For me, for example, my childhood babysitter would tell me in no uncertain terms that I had to go outside and play rather than playing Mario Brothers indoors again. So these are the people that are going to challenge us, protect us, and prod us to action. And for me at work, it can be as simple as someone calling me in the morning to ask what I'm going to work on, and then telling me to scrap most of it, and checking in again later in the afternoon. Everybody's different, though. We need to think about what executive functions challenge us and fill those gaps. So for you, it might be that you hire an assistant, or that CFO, or the head of sales you've always wanted. Or you might just consult with an HR professional or a lawyer. But babysitters don't have to be people. They can be processes and tools as well. So say, for example, is it time to update or recalibrate your CRM? And if it is, I recommend that you get someone to do it for you, because yuck. Or your sales and marketing materials. Can you delegate some of that? Can you automate it? Can you use AI to get you started so it doesn't seem like such a daunting task? So these are the people, tools, and processes that you can start to assemble for yourself to keep you organized. But it doesn't mean, even with those supports, that you're not going to feel like you're a failure or a fraud sometimes. And wouldn't it be nice if there was a magical universe in which we always remembered what we've already achieved? It's easier said than done, because regulating our emotions can be difficult with ADHD. But enter your cheerleaders. These are the folks that remind us who we are and what we're capable of. And it matters who they are. Many of you may still be relying on friends and family to be your cheerleaders, but do they understand your business goals and your mission? Maybe yours do, and that's perfect. My family certainly wasn't quite sure why I wanted to stand on stage and perform rather than earning a living as a lawyer. But it matters mostly that people get it, and it helps if they understand ADHD too. But I think the most important trait for your cheerleaders is that they're honest, because ADHD brains do not fall for fake compliments. Now, I too am an ADHD entrepreneur, and my last slide has not arrived, so we'll skip it. So we already mentioned David Neeleman, the founder of JetBlue, performer will.i.am. These people are crediting their ADHD with their successes. They know it's made them who they are. And then there's Canadian performer Nelly Furtado, who just last week said that she had ADHD. And she explained that the reason she's experimented with so many different musical genres is because she gets easily bored. And then we have athletes like Simone Biles and Michael Phelps. They have coaches, supportive teammates, and zillions of gold medals. And I promise you that Richard Branson and Mel Robbins are not trying to do this on their own either. They know that they need to stay focused on their strengths, and that if they share their enthusiasm, keep their eye on the big picture, and lead, then they're going to help bring their massive dreams to reality. And every successful founder has some version of babysitters and cheerleaders in their corner helping them change the world. For ADHD, that's not optional, it's essential. Thank you.